I also, when I was younger, my dad always, my dad always just give me these books to read as far as the
Yeah.
mental side pitching. Because
Yeah.
when I was young, I really struggled with
Yeah.
body language. Every
Yeah.
car ride
Yeah.
home was a talk about the body language. I remember that.
Yes.
It's read a lot, but I remember there was one book that this did kind of stick with me a little bit, and it
Mm-hmm.
was I think they called it neurolinguistic programming. I think is was
Mm-hmm.
what
Mm-hmm.
they called it, and it was basically how our brain. They said our brain didn't recognize negative commands. So I
Mm-hmm.
want to actually see if this is true, so or not,
Yeah.
because I read this and I was like, oh, that's pretty good. And
Mm-hmm.
so they gave an example of like
Yeah.
hitting
Yeah.
is if I go up to the plate and I think,
Yes.
don't strike out, don't strike out, don't strike out. My brain is not recognizing the negative part of that thought, and
Yeah.
it's thinking strike out, strike out, strike
Absolutely.
out. Is that true?
That is absolutely true.
Okay.
Like I'm a 100% believer in that, right? So
Okay.
I refer to that kind of jokingly as pink elephant thinking,
Uh,
right? If I tell you don't think about a pink elephant, what are we both thinking about right now, right?
yes.
And so I think like sometimes my athletes in an effort to kind of not be negative, right? They're thinking like, okay, I'm gonna say don't make that mistake, don't make
right.
that turnover, don't do this, don't knows nevers, and our brain is not wired to pay attention to those intros and articles, right? Like it's wired to focus on actions and objects. So it's strike out, right? Like it's make make a mistake, right? It's turn the ball over, right? Like that's what our
Right.
brain gets dialed in on, and so we're actually kind of building in that those unhelpful thoughts even when we're trying to be like, well, I said don't, right? I said no, like those kind of things.
Yeah.
And so I really kind of work a lot on like, especially when we're talking about self-talk, well, what are we really saying there, right? Like what are we really wanting you to do, right? Like wanting to get that barrel through the zone, right? Wanting to lock in on my target, right? Like what are the things we want you to have happen, and that needs to be what we're filling your self-talk with.
And it kind of goes
Right?
back to what you said about the predator mindset,
Absolutely,
right? It
right?
says if
Yeah,
that's more of an action based and
yeah,
eyes in front
yeah,
versus
yeah.
worrying about not doing something on the side, something's
Absolutely,
going to get
yeah.
me, whatever.
Right.
If you enjoyed that clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the full podcast, click right here. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you find this content valuable.